Morning.
Good morning.
It's Tuesday, it's the 5th of March, and just in case you weren't aware, today's Pancake Tuesday.
Yeah, I had my pancakes last night, by the way. I have a really busy day today, so I had to have a good run at it. So the pancakes were eaten last night.
I don't think I
They'll
have
be eaten
any.
again tonight, but I wasn't going to get them to have them this morning or lunchtime.
The only way I'll have them is if I go and buy them or somebody makes them for me.
Okay. Well, Gary's cooked them, you know.
That's what I was thinking after the show, just maybe just take a casual wander through.
Yeah.
Oh, pancakes. What? Sure, look, it would be rude not to.
Have 5.
8, 10. So today's Pancake Tuesday. So
one of my friends. Sorry, interrupting you. You continue, and I'll tell you then about my pancakes. Go.
On. I was going to do the weather.
One of my friends called over last night, and so I was like, I have the batter ready. She was like, do you have loads now? And I was like, loads. And then I was kind of, how many will you eat? She was like, definitely 2. So I was like, I made enough for like 12 or 15.
Yeah. 2 is nothing.
2
was
Two
nothing.
was kind of just getting going. You'd eat 2 just at the pan, standing there.
What do you do? What do you put toppings wise?
Like
on
my
it?
I tried a few different bits and pieces last night, but like lemon and sugar is my favourite.
Yeah,
definitely.
the basics. Yeah, and I agree. I do love spreading Nutella across them.
Yeah.
And I also was tipped off by a friend of mine a couple of years ago to chance spreading ice cream across it, and then as you roll it up, put in Maltesers. It was actually unbelievable.
So I had lemon and sugar. I had like a cinnamon sugar.
Yeah.
I had one with strawberries and cream.
Yeah.
I had another that was some honey on it somewhere.
I'm not objecting any of these so far yet.
They were all fab. There was a tiny bit. We only had a little bit of Nutella in the end of the jar, so I kind of scraped a bit of Nutella onto one. I had a good few.
You were just doing your bit, no waste.
She was like, I'd eat 2.
I'd eat 2, and that's loads.
Hang on now a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. You'd have 2 while you're standing there cooking.
Yeah.
Very heavy showers across the county later on today. We're expecting some very heavy downpours in parts, and temperatures up and around 11 or 12 degrees, lads. It'll be like the middle of summer. Get out the sun. But it's going to be a wet one today. All right.
Okay, some of the big stories today. So you probably saw these on our Facebook page as well if you didn't hear them yesterday. But Luke Perry, star of Beverly Hills 90210, has sadly passed away. He was just 52. He looked older, didn't he?
He did,
He obviously gave himself a bit of hardship by the looks of it. But dead at 52. A huge pin-up. We've talked about him before on the show.
We talked about him last week after he had the stroke.
Yeah, anybody around my age probably fancied Luke Perry at some stage. But he was also in... I'm going to get the name of it wrong now. Riverdale?
Riverdale, yeah.
So that's really big with youngsters now.
Massive on Netflix.
They know him, not really as a heartthrob, but as an actor in that. So that's very sad, and that's on the front page of the Irish Daily Mail this morning. Picture of Luke Perry in his heyday in 90210. Also a story about the National Gallery and how they own a painting that's worth 150,000 that was gifted to them by the disgraced retired surgeon Michael Shine, and they still credit him in the gallery. In fairness, now the court case is recent, very recent. They still credit him for giving it to them, but that's in the front page of the Irish Daily Mail as well this morning.
The Examiner says state inquiry costs set to hit 500 million. 2 of the 7 tribunals deemed to be ongoing as bills mount. That's on the front page there. Ex-SDLP chief to contest Dublin seat from Derry. This is he's going to run for Fine Gael for the European elections. That's on the front page of the Examiner as well. And Varadkar tells oddballs not to target families and staff. So yesterday, a suspicious package was found at the Department of Health, which, as Leo and correctly pointed out yesterday, that post doesn't reach the politicians. It's not it's not Simon Harris opening that or Leo Varadkar opening that. It's just your everyday, like all the rest of us, a regular member of staff.
Secretary, a security guard.
Could be anybody.
Just a clerical person.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous to think that the minister sits at his desk opening his
post. Yeah, and somebody obviously did. Now, I'm not sure in the end. I think it was deemed to be non-toxic, I think. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Anyway, staff were able to go back to work after the Department of Health was cleared yesterday. But I think Leo Varadkar made a good point, though, that if you're going to be stupid enough to send something like that in the post that happens to be toxic and poisonous or whatever, just remember that it's your everyday average person like any of us opening that post, not a politician. Yeah. Which I think was a good point yesterday.
That story is also in the Times today. Actually, Varadkar condemns oddballs over suspicious package hoax. So there's a package with white powder coming out of it. Also on the front page of the Times yesterday, it was released the racing tips that really matter this year, and that's the what to wear at Ascot this year tips.
Can I just say, right, that photograph looks like she's wearing a onesie pyjamas.
She looks crazy. No, she looks crazy.
Anyway.
Full-length jumpsuits, however floral, are welcome, says the tip guide. Can't wait to read it.
Sorry. I just realised it's a jumpsuit, yeah, but it does look like a pyjamas.
It does look like pyjamas, and it doesn't look like she go to the races. Also on the front page of the Times, Simon Harris under more pressure last night to explain why he didn't explain to the Cabinet about the projected cost overspend on the National Children's Hospital ahead of the budget, and why the world seems happier when you're older. So this is a new study into happiness index and why older people in general report that they feel happier. It's a story on the front page of the Times today. We might talk about this more in the show. I think when you get older and as you mature, I would imagine you sweat the small stuff less and less.
Probably do, yeah.
And you're like, I'm getting towards the end here. I'm going towards the light.
No point in stressing over
I'm not
small
going to
things.
stress over the lawn not being cut. Although, no, wait, that was a bad example. Old people are always cutting their lawns. Like you. It's the kind of thing you get up to.
In the Irish Independent then this morning, armed Garda units posted on 24-hour border patrol. Armed support units will shortly be deployed around the clock in the border region under plans being finalised by Garda chiefs to deal with the Brexit fallout. And flippin' great, Darina Allen's in the inside the Independent this morning on how to create the perfect pancake. And she's given a step-by-step guide inside the Irish Independent there this morning.
It's Delia Smith's recipe I always use. It's just so easy. It's just straightforward. I mean, there's nothing special about Delia's recipe, but it's just my go-to recipe.
My go-to recipe is Google how to make a pancake and then follow the first 6 steps that pop up.
Perfect.
And
it could be Delia's, or it could be one of the very popular ones.
Who knows? It could be, and it's very. I mean,
it's bog standard anyway.
Even if you make a right balls of the pancake, they're still salvageable. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard
it's just
to.
If they stick, that's the only problem. You need a good pan.
But exactly, and barring them sticking, it's very hard then to create something you kind of go, ooh, I'm not going to touch that. They're very simple.
Yeah, I know. A couple we made last night were a bit raw, kind of. You know, I just needed to cook them more. You know, when you're impatient, you just they're done. Go on, get it into you. But we were all kind of like,
horse it into me, boss.
You know, they're still grand, even if they need to be cooked for another minute. I'd still eat them, like, no bother. I have a pain in my tummy today, though, so maybe that was a bad idea.
Top trends this morning. Tonight on Virgin Media TV is trending. So last night they discussed the Catholic Church's place in Ireland in 2019 and 2020 and so on. And also they discussed Shane Ross's response to calls for drink drivers who've been banned to be allowed a permit to drive to work, because they'll need it, obviously. Border on Brexit was on RTE last night, so it's this programme. It's quite frightening, actually. I saw about 20 minutes of it, and basically it's just what's going to happen to the border once Brexit kicks in, and how it's going to affect people's daily lives, even as far down the chain as people going to school. So it's going to affect people massively, because people live in one town but go to school across the border or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 trends, which we just mentioned in the papers, Luke Perry is trending after passing away yesterday, and Keith Flint from The Prodigy as well, also found at his home yesterday, aged 49. So very sad.
Did you see what James Blunt said about Keith Flint?
No, but James Blunt on Twitter tends to be quite funny.
It was cool. He said, you know, when... look, I'll get it properly, but it was like when everybody else in the music industry said that James Blunt was the saddest ever going,
right, okay.
And they were like, you know, Noel Gallagher made some awful comments that he wouldn't go to Ibiza or something because James Blunt had a house there or something. You know, it was just ridiculous. And someone, I think with Damon Albarn, wouldn't get into a photo with him at some event because they thought he was so sad. And he said,
uncool.
Yeah, Keith Flint walked up to him, gave him a big hug, and told him he was happy for him and all his successes.
Fair play.
In front of people, like,
That's a really good story. Yeah.
No, it was a nice story. Yeah. Someone though commented, I'd say he was off his head, mate. He would have hugged anyone.
Yeah. But you should follow James Blunt on Twitter, by the way. He's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You'll never slag him off his music. Even his music now that comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, James Blunt, grand, because
you have a newfound respect
for
him when you see his social media presence. Yeah,
it's Mother-in-Law's Day today, as well as being Pancake Tuesday. If pancakes aren't your thing, maybe
mother-in-laws
your mother-in-law is. I don't know. And we're going to talk about this in the show as well. 9% of men and 17% of women say that this is their biggest fear. I thought this would be much higher for both sexes. It is public speaking. Yes. Okay, public speaking, so is the answer. We'll talk about that later.
We need to wrap because we're about to go live.
Okay.
So enjoy Tuesday. Eat
wrap.
plenty of pancakes.
I got this.
And good luck.